You alright guys, Crypto Tyke here, the inflation avoider. Just a quick update really. What has happened, I have picked up a little bit of Kaspa for all you Kaspa hodlers out there. Just set a limit order to let it drift below 7.5 cents and picked up a bit more there while the going is good, and we will see what pans out over the next coming hours before I decide whether I'm going to pick any more Casper up or not. As I have new liquidity incoming, I'll decide whether it's worth waiting. However, because I missed out on an opportunity to pick up some more Solana when it dropped below $200. I'm just waiting it out between the two to see if we're going to get another return to that area by Solana, because it will lead just behind Ethereum when the next leg up starts. So I figure it's probably best to make sure I'm taking advantage of those opportunities when they arise. So that's where I'm at the moment. And talking of limit orders, just for anybody who's brand new to crypto, limit orders are what you should be really setting when you're buying. You should be doing it out of habit. Now I know there's certain people who advise on Casper who still don't seem to understand what limit orders are there for, which is quite surprising considering how much influence they have. Rather than just doing a market order and pressing buy, what happens is it fills your order at the nearest price that it can get, so that can drift a little bit compared to the price you actually think you're getting it at as well. So you might think, say for instance, you're getting Casper. Oh, let's think of something else. I'm off of the top of my head. Say you're paying $24.50 for AVAX. If you're doing it at a market order, you could end up with it at 25 or 24.75 higher usually than the price that you're actually intending on buying it at. So you always have leakage that way, and you don't want to be leaking money needlessly. You want to be making sure you're getting as much money as you can into crypto. Not financial advice, by the way, and I'm not a financial advisor. Rather than leaking it needlessly when you don't have to. I'm always surprised that there are people who keep buying at market orders, letting that happen. It just makes no sense. I get that they think that, well, I'm holding Casper long term and it doesn't matter, I'm getting a good price. But I thought the idea was to accumulate as much Casper as possible, and if you're doing market orders, you're not accumulating as much as possible. I mean, it's really simple maths. I shouldn't have to explain it. But some people seem to struggle with that very simple concept. I don't know why. And I'm supposed to be the one who hasn't been in crypto very long, even though I have been tracking it for many years, and I'll tell you in a video that will either be out by the time I do this or coming out, of my little journey and how I do have an understanding of what's going on. It's not just that because I started trading 6 months ago, or should I say investing. I don't consider myself a trader, it is investing, but unfortunately part of investing does mean doing a little bit of trading, because when opportunity presents itself, it's silly to just sit on your hands and do nothing. Again, I know Casper holders, some would disagree with me on that and just think holding on indefinitely is the best way to go, even though it costs you more Casper in the long run. So what I did was, yes, I bought some Casper at a limit order, dropped into that range of just below 7.5 cents, and now I wait to deploy my next order, which I've got lined up, just seeing if it can drop any further first of all, and then I've got a limit slightly above. And this is the thing, you can set your limits at certain points where if you're worried it might burst out of there, you can catch it before it does, or set it them psychological levels that people will be aware of. You can see them on the charts when you're looking at them anyway and setting those limit orders, so you can determine if it breaks out of a certain place, probably worth having a buy. Leave it a little bit above just to make sure. That's why people set higher orders, not just lower limit orders. Set it just above where it would mean it's on a breakout if it's going above there, so you don't want to miss out, so you might set one above, and this is what I did today. Set one just above, well, above enough that it's breaking out if it goes there, and then the one that I'm expecting, which is lower, within that point of dropping without being outside, so that's why I set a second one, which is now saying, right, okay, should that price break out of that resistance area, I am also going to buy, but in a decent level down from there. It's not an exact science, nothing ever is, but yeah, try your best. Doing limit orders is always the way to go. That way you're not worried about what the price is necessarily. You know what price you want, you're in control, and when it goes through, it goes through. So we'll see if any of them get hit in the coming hours or maybe tomorrow. Like I said, I'm not too worried either way. I've got more liquidity on its way soon, and that will give me an opportunity to reevaluate things. Do I want to buy more Kaspa? Am I going to be spending the bulk of that in Solana and Ethereum first, or am I going to top up some Chainlink as well, which is one that I'm looking to just top up for the next leg up? But all them decisions that have to be made. We don't have infinite money. You've got to remember that. I've got a video that I'm going to be doing about people who watch Alex Becker and the things I have to take into consideration when he's talking about coins. He's made it big. He actually started with the same amount that I started with, or that I, got to over in the early days of amassing money, the actual physical money of my own that went in to begin with, after selling things on eBay and stuff like that. Quite interesting. So it'd be interesting to see how I get on over the next 10 years. Will I ever get to his level? I don't know. I'll be surprised, but very impressed if I do. But what I'm saying is, in all seriousness, it's about, we have to be different to Alex Becker. And I'm sure Alex Becker would probably agree. You see a lot of people on his comments that are asking, what's going to be the next big thing, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if you're just asking that, you're asking the wrong questions. Because when you've got millions of pounds to play with, you can afford to take gambles on things that we might not, be able to afford to take gambles on, because it will mean we divert in a sizable amount of our portfolio away from things that are guaranteed to go up, or pretty much guaranteed to go up. And also, they could put such a amount in that even if it relatively flops in 6 months' time, they've still managed to make a shit ton of money off of it, because more money, bigger returns. The less percentage you need it to actually go up to make the profit, and if you lose, you lose. Doesn't really matter, not a massive part of your portfolio anyway, so you can bin it and write it off as a tax loss. So I'll go on about that in a video anyway, dedicated to it, because I've sort of digressed a little bit as things are. But this is the state of play today. I thought, now's a good time to get in on Kaspa a little bit more, after originally, as I've said before, I sold 40% of the Kaspa I was holding about a month ago now, is it? Maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And that was when it was at just shy of 9 cents. I decided that I needed to put that into better places, which I did. I then put it on Avalanche, a bulk of that, and I rode the Avalanche price up, and since then I've taken profits on Avalanche while then leaving myself with just enough where I will still make decent profits on Avalanche when it goes back up. And now it gave me more money to be able to put into Kaspa. I haven't got the original 40% back just yet, but I'm building, and I'm being able to build my Solana, Ethereum, and other decent things while I'm at it, because Bitcoin as well, obviously, because those things are harder and harder to buy. A little bit of B&B, it was high, but I promised myself I was going to get in at some point, and I had the available liquidity to do that. That is still, for what little I've got, in the green. I expect it to come down a little bit, maybe it won't, but I'm going to be buying a little bit of that each month as well, because I'm expecting that to do very well long term. It's already doing very well now, but when I first looked at it 6 months ago, and the new rule I've got in life, which is, will you stop, this is why I wasn't in crypto earlier, will you stop saying this is a really good thing to do and not put your fucking money in it? Because every time you come to it, you look at it and then you go, well, now it's too late to put your money in it, and you don't put your money in it, and then it goes up again, and you don't put your money in it, and then it goes up again, and so the cycle continues with you never making money because you don't put your fucking money where your mouth is. Well, 6 months ago I decided enough of that, time to put my money where my mouth is, and so far so good. And so I had to apply that with B&B. So about a month ago, I think, I started putting into B&B. It was at a high. I didn't like doing it because it was at a high, but I had to start somewhere, and it's still in the green. I'm surprised, actually, to be fair. So I'm going to keep on putting into B&B as one of my other, let's say, strategic reserves. So I've got Bitcoin, that's what I class as a strategic reserve. It's not something I'm going to sell when there's dips, or when it pushes on and then try and buy back. Things that I'm going to just go, fuck it, I'm holding on to them long term. Ethereum's the other. Solana possibly goes into that category as well, I'm not sure. But B&B is another that I see as a solid long-term hold, and then the rest, they're up for negotiation. Holding Kaspa as my outside bet, that it's got decent technology, a lot going for it, undervalued at the moment, and in years to come that could push on and make life-changing returns. So I'm getting a bit of that as I go along, rather than FOMOing in like a lot of people have done and don't realise they're doing, because they're saying, well, buy it now before everybody FOMOs in. It's like, you're the fucking ones FOMOing in. There's plenty of time. So even if it's at 25 cents, you're still okay to keep buying it, because that is still dirt cheap. You know, when your life-changing sums, you look at that figure in your head of what's going to change your life, with the price of Kaspa, you're going to be looking at $5, $10. It ain't going to get there for a long while yet. You've got plenty of buying time, and 25 cents would be a snip if it went up that high and came back down. You know, it's still a snip at 50 cents, not too harsh, and you can still get plenty and enough to change your life. Anyway, I think that just about covers everything at the moment. I'm wearing an Arsenal shirt. I just wanted to say I collect football shirts, so you might see a lot of different football shirts. Don't judge me on it. I don't support Arsenal, and I just collect football shirts. I love collecting football shirts. That's about it. Anyway, those of you that have followed me or subscribed to the channel so far, big thank you. It really makes a massive difference. When I get to 50, I'll be able to start going live, which is something I want to do. So please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really does make a difference to a channel that is as tiny as mine at the moment. I'm pleasantly surprised by how things are going already, so that's great. Do hit that like button, only takes a second and does impact the algorithm, as I have noticed, so please do hit the like button. It makes all the difference, and let me know how you're getting on and what you're planning on doing over the next coming days, and leave that in the comments, or even if it's just to go for the algo, hit that in the comments as well. Catch you later, guys. Probably very soon. Like usual, I'll try and keep the content coming as much as possible. Bye bye.